It all started on a weekend morning. An older woman named Clara heard that a beauty salon had recently opened in her town. She also knew that they were doing a lot of promotions and offers, so she wanted to go. So when she entered through the door, she was very impressed by how cozy and beautiful everything was. On the walls, there were pictures with girls with a variety of hairstyles. There were big mirrors and shelves with all kinds of beauty products. Looking at the comfortable armchairs, Clara decided to sit down and enjoy a little rest while she waited for her turn. After a few minutes, one of the hairdresser girls got free and approached her. At that moment, Clara told her that she wanted to have her hair cut. The women who were present looked at each other and even made an astonished face. As the old lady took a seat to the chair that was in front of the mirror for her cut, one of the hairdressers who would be taking care of her said, "And what exactly do you want?" The old lady slowly took out a magazine she was carrying in her purse and showed her a model of cut she liked. "Is that the cut you want?" "Yes, ma'am. What do you think? I think it wouldn't look bad on me." "I can't believe it," interrupted the hairdresser, laughing, showing the page of the magazine to her other coworkers. All of them seemed to make fun of the old lady's wish. One of them commented, "No, but how can she want that? First, it is a youth haircut. That is for young people. And secondly, her hair is too white and short. With a couple of cuts, she will be left without hair." Another one who was in the office added, "That cut will certainly not fit you, ma'am. Do you have any idea how much money this is going to cost you? It will probably be all of your pension. You better save. You are already very old. You don't need this. You better buy your medicines, and a cane wouldn't hurt, right, girls?" She said these last hurtful words, and all her colleagues started to laugh. A client who was on the side, instead of calming things down, added fuel to the fire. "I wouldn't have her without her paying me first. I don't care if the cut fits this old lady or not. But I have money, ladies. Don't worry about the cost." "What? But how old are you, Grandma? Do you still listen? We are telling you that the cut will not fit you and it will be very expensive. Don't waste your money, Granny. Your time has passed." The old lady then lowered her eyes. It was the first time something like this happened to her. She felt very sorry and even shed some tears knowing that no one would help her here, so she left almost humiliated. While she was walking towards the door, she heard, "Yes, you better go. You have the wrong door, old lady," said one of the hairdressers. That's how Mrs. Clara left the beautiful but not so friendly salon. The old lady crossed the park. She walked, thinking about everything that had happened, and after a few blocks, she noticed a small hairdresser's shop in front of her. She approached through the window. The place was very modest, and there was even only one chair. She also noticed that there were no customers, so she decided to go in because she wanted the longed-for haircut. In the hallway, she was greeted by a young woman wearing very humble clothes with a simple face. However, appearances could be deceiving, and she had an embarrassing moment when she thought that this other hairdresser might make fun of her when she showed her the desired haircut. The stylist then invited the woman to sit on the chair. And suddenly, she said, "Madam, tell me, what haircut do you want?" "Young lady, I have a magazine with the model. Can I show it to you?" The old lady felt embarrassed again as she looked at the image, and soon the hairdresser took the magazine and carefully examined the model. Then she put it aside and commented, "But what good taste you have, madam. You chose the best cut for you." The old lady felt a very different treatment, and she felt relieved to know that nobody else will make fun, but suddenly the hairdresser added, "Only I would like to tell you something." The old lady changed her face. Was she going to say something bad, she wondered? But suddenly she heard, "I think you should dye your hair so we can give more color and life to your haircut. And don't worry, it won't be expensive. If you like, you can choose a color that is in this catalog. Do you think so, ma'am?" The stylist gave her several catalogs. "Thank you, darling. Today is my 72nd birthday, and I wanted to please myself. It's been a long time since I stopped taking care of my appearance. Now I think that my age should not be an impediment. I think it is very good, and happy birthday, madam. But you should not take care of your appearance. You are beautiful." "Thank you, darling. By the way, what is your name?" asked Clara. "My name is Claudia," the young lady smiled as she started to work. That's how she began to cut the lady's hair, as delicately as if she were taking care of a rose. The old lady even shed some tears. "Why are you crying, ma'am?" "A moment ago, something happened, but don't worry, these are things you have to live." "It's okay," said the hairdresser. 2 hours later, Clara saw the result. She was beautiful and well-groomed, and Claudia even gave her a manicure. That lady was really happy. Then she paid and even gave a tip to the stylist. "Madam, it is not necessary. No, darling, take it as an appreciation. From now on, I will be your client. You have done a good job. Okay, ma'am, thank you very much, said Claudia. That's how Clara went out on the street enjoying a warm summer day. That sadness she felt hours before definitely changed to happiness. She felt much younger than she really was. She bought a soft drink, sat in the park, and thought about the hairdresser, such a nice person with such a difficult destiny. You see, when Claudia was cutting her hair, Clara managed to find out about her sad life. The young woman who had come to the city from the interior of the country was going through a bad time. It turns out that she lives only with her son, while the woman works and the little one is in daycare. She only has a rented apartment, and even the hairdresser's shop is not hers because she works for someone else, and the salary she receives barely allows her to make ends meet. Moreover, her son is currently sick, and she spends everything on him. Sometimes she stops eating for his medicines, Claudia told with so much concern, all that the old woman listened and only answered, I understand, darling. It must be difficult. But what about your husband? Manuel and I lived together for 4 years. We had our son after 2 years of living together. We lived even with my mother-in-law. She always made my life impossible, even more so when Manuel left to work in another city. But it was at that moment that Claudia kept silent, as if she remembered something that hurt her. Mrs. Clara didn't say a word either, but then she couldn't keep quiet. And then what happened? Well, Manuel didn't really go to work as he had told me. He actually had another woman, even another son, and even bought a house for them only, and his mother treated me like a servant every time. I couldn't stand it anymore. I left everything and came. I didn't even say anything to them because I was afraid they were going to take my son away from me. When I arrived in this city, I didn't even know how to start. And your parents? I have no one, ma'am. My aunt was the only one who took care of me, but she died when I was 15 years old. They took me to a juvenile center, and there they gave me hairdressing classes. When I got out, I met Manuel, and he took me to his hometown to live, where I started cutting people's hair. Little by little, I became known. Not that I earned a lot of money, but it was enough to buy food and even medicine for my mother-in-law, said the girl, but she also added, and when I arrived in the capital, my son got sick. I took him to the hospital, and they told me he had anemia. That's why I work, ma'am. Luckily, I got this job, although my boss doesn't treat me so well. Sometimes she doesn't even pay me. But what can I do? I need the job. This saddened the older woman, and she thought to herself why the world is so unfair, so she walked home. Suddenly, a block before she arrived, she heard someone's voice behind her. Teacher? Clara turned and noticed a beautiful woman walking towards her and recognized her immediately. She was one of her 6 most applied and talented students in the classroom. Her name was Victoria Fernandez. Clara was delighted with her presence. But how are you? So long! Miss Clara, do you remember how the kids were running after you in masses? Likewise, I was just a moment ago. You sure walk fast. That's how they both hugged and were happy to see each other again. I haven't seen you in ages. You look beautiful. Thank you. You too, miss. Beautiful as always. You finally stayed here, said the old lady, who in turn asked, when did you come back from abroad? A month ago, teacher. I will be married in half a year. How nice, darling. I am happy for you, the teacher then commented. Today is my birthday. Would you like to come over to my house for a moment? We will sit and talk. I can even make something to eat. I would love to have some company. What's more, it's on me. This day will be very special, said the former student. The teacher, who knew she was not expecting anyone, accepted and accompanied the young woman. However, the smile on the older woman's face faded when she approached her former student's business because that establishment turned out to be the classroom where she was humiliated. So when they saw Victoria, all the workers stopped laughing and became serious, even very kind to her, but they did not recognize the old woman. At that moment, Mrs. Clara heard, Teacher, this is my classroom. Now I have my own business, and all thanks to the advice you gave us when we were children to always fight for our goals. However, the old lady did not want to enter. Darling, I better go. But why, teacher? Suddenly, the old lady started to cry. What happened? Said Victoria. Did I say something wrong? No, daughter, just that you cannot trust those people. Thank you, dear, for the invitation, but I do not want to ruin my mood again. Wait, I do not understand what happened, teacher. That's how the old lady looked at all the employees who offended her, and in front of them, as the teacher started to tell what had happened, and when they heard what happened, they all lowered their heads. The owner was very indignant and apologized to her teacher. At that moment, she begged her to wait for her in her office so that she would give some instructions, and then she would make a couple of calls. When the old lady closed the door, Victoria turned to her employees and very angrily told them, You are all fired. How is it possible that you have offended a client? Moreover, she was my teacher. My salon is the best in town and I pay 3 times more than in other beauty salons, and still you treat the clients badly? For this, I pay you? I don't want to see you again. You are not worthy of this job." The women, who were speechless, suddenly uttered, "Excuse us, we are sorry, please give us one more chance." However, the woman had already made up her mind. Now the girls no longer had time to laugh and make fun of a person, even more so knowing that she was older. So Victoria took her teacher to a restaurant where she had a big surprise in store for her. The former student managed to invite several more of her classmates, and the party at the restaurant turned out to be noisy and very joyful. Everyone honored the old teacher and congratulated her on her birthday. The next day, Victoria arrived at Claudia's hairdresser's and the two chatted. There she offered her a job in her salon thanks to her teacher's recommendation. The humble woman was very happy and accepted all the conditions. Already in the afternoon, Mrs. Clara approached her and told her, "I cannot allow that such a good person deserves this. You know, I don't have children or grandchildren. The truth is, I would like you to come with me to my house. This is a very big house and I wouldn't mind a little company, and I will see you as a daughter and I won't charge you anything. You won't need to take care of me. I can still do it myself. There is no better medicine than the happiness of being accompanied by a good person like you, and on the day I am gone, my home will be yours and your son's." Claudia could not believe it. The humble stylist smiled. "I have always dreamed of a daughter like you. Maybe that is why God put you on my path." "Ma'am," said the young lady, crying, "I will never be able to repay you for such kindness. Thank you." And they both hugged each other. Today, Mrs. Clara still visits the store and is the most spoiled customer, without a doubt a wonderful story. I once heard that karma exists, and believe me, it is not a coincidence. If you do something good, you will receive something good. If you do something bad, you know what you will receive. Sooner or later it will happen, and I hope you are not surprised.